happening, guys? This is Bharat Nagpal for iGyan.in. We're checking out the Zolo Q1000, and now this phone was recently launched in India. A couple of specifications to point out. It has the MediaTek quad-core 1.2 GHz processor. It also has the PowerVR SGX 544MP GPU. In terms of memory, you have 4 GB of internal storage, 1 GB of RAM, an 8 megapixel camera on the back, and a 1.2 megapixel camera on the front. The 5-inch display is an HD display, 720p is what the specs are like. Let's take a look at what Quadrant has to say about system information, and let's see how this device performs in benchmarks and take a look at the rest of the tests. So we'll start off with Quadrant standard as usual, and we'll run into system information, which is over here. Start off with CPU. You can see it is the MediaTek 6589 CPU. No serial number as usual. You have 4 cores, 1.2 GHz is the speed. If we talk about memory, one of the most accurate representations, you actually have 995,000 KB, which is about just less than 1 GB, which is fairly better than most of the other companies that say 1 GB, and it turns out that it's much less on the inside. The resolution is displayed clearly over here as well, 720 by 1280, exact HD resolution. 320 by 320 DPI is the pixel strength of the display, and it is a PowerVR SGX 544MP GPU, so you can see that as well. Let's talk about the sensors. You have a 3-axis accelerometer, proximity sensor, light sensor, orientation sensor, and a magnetic field sensor. So those are the details of the hardware. Let's run a full benchmark. Zolo Q1000 scores a 3916 on Quadrant standard, which is lower than Asus Transformer Prime and higher than the Motorola Atrix 4G in terms of the Quadrant result card. Before we get into another hardware detail or benchmark, I'll tell you one thing, that you can't really move apps around on the home screen, which is quite strange for this device. I don't know if there's a setting that we need to change, but we're just looking at this device. When I tap down on an app, it just flashes and quits. So I don't even know if I can move the apps around. Maybe there's a toggle for it, maybe there's something happening. But as far as I am concerned, I cannot move the apps around. So that's quite strange actually. Let's run into Ninamark and do a Ninamark test. You can see a score of 44.8 FPS on Ninamark, which is okay, I guess. That's the score on this MediaTek chipset usually, so no difference over there as well. Time for an AnTuTu benchmark, so let's run that. So you can see that the AnTuTu benchmarks are in a really nice score of 12,943, almost 5 stars, 4.5 stars over there. CPU is at 5856. RAM is at 2346. GPU at 3850. Input output at 891. The last thing I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to run a multi-touch tester, and that will test the quality of the display or the number of touch points it can actually take in. This has to be the most disappointing touchscreen if it's actually only taking in 2. So that's it, a maximum of 5 touch points on the screen. This app is actually not designed for this screen. It's not loading it in the full, but it is only showing 5 touch points within that. So that's a quick look at hardware and benchmark details. We'll be back with the gaming video and then the final review of the Q1000, so stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, queries, do leave them in the comment section below. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and make sure you visit iGyan.in for your daily dose of tech. and you're subscribed to youtube.com/iGyan, youtube.com/iGyan TV. For iGyan Networks, this is Brad Nagpal. Thank you guys for watching.